Hello. We are live. However, nobody has the correct link right now because YouTube live streams are confusing. So I'm going to take a moment and share the correct link via Instagram right now. Hopefully people aren't watching the replay. I clicked go live on the scheduled live stream, which in hindsight, kind of obvious that was going to do what it said it was going to do. But there was no way to preview the stream, which seems silly to me. All right. Live stream starting now. And then we just get this link in there. Oy vey. All right. Gonna get it to my phone. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, my laptop can also barely handle streaming, much less doing something else while streaming at the same time. But don't worry, we'll be getting started very soon. There's the link. Okay. Lovely. Well, now that that is handled, hello, my name is Miles. I'm the creator and founder of the Tea Stand. If you don't know much about the Tea Stand, it is a project/nonprofit, which I started back in December 2022 by serving free tea in my local park, which is Maria Hernandez Park in Bushwick, Brooklyn, New York. And slowly, naturally, over the next year and a half now, we're at the 18-month mark. It turned into a larger entity where we serve free tea still in public parks about once a week, but also at food distributions. And we host a couple of event series, some of which are centered around small group conversations. Some are centered around DJ performances. And there's a newsletter, there's these live streams now, and there's about to be a membership program, which I'm going to save that for a little bit later on. But yeah, today I'm going to spend the first 15 minutes or so just giving a general check-in on what's been going on with the Tea Stand past few weeks. And then I'm going to open up some zines, which are the first ever zines printed for the tea stand. They were authored and designed by yours truly with a lot of help from the community, and those will be available in just a few days. So I literally haven't opened them up. They're sitting in a box right by my side, right here. So I'm gonna open those up, take a quick look at them live with whoever may be watching. And then the last 30 minutes of the live stream, I'm just going to be bagging tea. I have a whole bunch of Chinese green tea here, and I'm going to bag it. And I might be doing that in silence, or if people have questions and drop them in the chat, I will be answering those questions. So that's the structure. Before I get into anything, I'm going to drink some tea myself. But I do see there's a question in the chat. So as I'm pouring myself up, the question is, how does the caffeine content in green tea compare to black tea? Which is an awesome question because, and I'm glad you're asking this question now and not a couple weeks ago, because I would have given you the wrong answer a couple weeks ago. So I learned recently that black tea and green tea, and as a matter of fact, all types of tea like oolong tea, yellow tea, etc., they all have very similar caffeine contents. However, the temperature at which you steep these different teas varies. And the temperature of the water that you use to steep the tea will affect the amount of caffeine which is like released from the leaves. So as a consequence of that, the average cup of black tea contains more caffeine than the average cup of green tea. But that's just because we use hotter water for black tea than we use for green tea. It doesn't actually reflect the amount of caffeine contained within the leaves themselves. So to source that, or to give proper reference, Woo Mountain Tea, WU space mountain space tea is where I got that information. And he's awesome. He's doing a PhD in tea science in China, and has a whole masterclass on tea available for free on YouTube, which I started watching recently and I've learned a ton. So highly recommend if you want to learn more about tea science and just like the specifics and particulars of tea, give that channel Woo Mountain Tea, and he's on Instagram and all other stuff too. Give that channel a check. So yeah, thank you for the question. So back to the tea, which I just poured myself. This is, I can't even tell you what is in this tea. Also, I don't know if the mic is picking up what's going on outside, but yes, I live in New York City, so there will be noises. Right now, it's one of those cars that's playing music with like the bass so maxed out that it's literally like shaking my apartment. Hopefully it's not getting picked up on the mic, but if it is, that's what's happening. So yeah, the tea that I'm drinking right now is an herbal tea, and I don't know what's in it. It is from Iran, and the reason I don't know what's in it is because a friend donated this to me personally before the tea stand even started, and it has a really nice little backstory, which is I lived in Singapore for 4 months back in the fall of 2019, and that was a really important time for me personally, living in a foreign country by myself. I was growing a lot, and it was really important for my tea journey because it was the first time where I was developing a daily tea routine. So this very tea, a coworker of mine, it was like an internship, gave me a big bag of this tea and shared it with me. So I was having a cup of this exact tea pretty much every day when I was in Singapore, and developed a really strong association with it, and still have a very small amount of this huge quantity of tea, which this friend of mine gave me as I was leaving Singapore. So it's some Iranian herbal tea, but for me, it really represents like the beginning of my tea journey, which I think is fitting for the first live stream. So yeah, cheers. That is the tea that I'm sipping on. There's a little bit of debris that's like stuck in my throat now. Cool. So on to like a general check-in. What's been going on the past couple of weeks with the tea stand? I'm going to open it up to like all of June, I think. I'm going to pull up the calendar on my laptop here. So June has been a really busy month with events, but also just with getting this whole membership program ready to go. So I'm gonna keep saying that I'm gonna put it off. So I'm just gonna say a little bit about it now. The membership program, the idea behind it is to financially sustain the tea stand. So of course we only ever serve tea for free. So there's not a whole lot of money coming in. There's one-time donations, and we're applying for grants and hoping that that will help as well. But the membership program is an opportunity for individuals who wish to support the tea stand can donate small amounts per month, anywhere from $1 to infinity dollars per month, and receive perks in exchange for those donations. And so designing this membership program and building out all of these perks has been the central mission of June. And that has looked like reaching out to dozens of local tea businesses to hopefully take part in our discount program, where people who are members of the tea stand will receive discounts at participating locations. And yes, 3 local businesses are a part of that, which I'll get into later, but super excited about that. Beyond reaching out to local businesses, we've been authoring and designing the zine, which I'm about to unbox. We designed and ordered a bunch of stickers, which say free tea for all. That's our motto at the tea stand. We've been building out our website to be able to support this, which has required a ton of like back-end overhaul, and a good friend of the tea stand, Adin, has gone above and beyond, doing a whole lot of stuff that I won't get into, but really phenomenal work. Super appreciative of him. And talking with a lot of community members about what feels right, what feels reasonable, figuring out the language, how to communicate about this. It's weird asking for money. It's been something really comfortable about the tea stand has been taking money out of the equation. And that's a big part of the ethos of people can come to the tea stand and the events that we host without having to worry about money. There's not that like transactional energy that we're so used to when we're interacting with strangers. And that really helps break through barriers and establish a deeper sense of trust, which is so important to have those types of exchanges with people in your community. So it feels weird to be like asking for money, but the idea is that we can keep all of the funding kind of behind the scenes and then protect that non-transactional energy at all future events and engagements. So that's the idea. And also for those unaware, like I work on the tea stand full time and I'm living off personal savings, and there's a lot of privilege that comes with my ability to do that. But also, I only have so much money in the bank, and hopeful that the membership program can help prolong this runway and then hopefully be able to keep the tea stand running for the indefinite future. So that's a little bit about the membership program. And yeah, that's just been a huge focus all of June. But outside of that, there's been a lot of events. There have been, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 6 pop-ups, which is a lot. Usually 4 is the goal for a month. We aim to do like 1 a week. And pop-ups are usually in public parks, but more and more take place at events or are like collaborations with different local artists and organizations. So it's pretty flexible what a pop-up can actually be. But I can give you some examples. So on June 5th, we set up a self-serve station of free tea at an event as part of like a crochet circle called Poppies for Palestine, which my partner is helping organize. The idea is to crochet or knit 1 poppy for every day that Palestine has been under siege by the IOF, Free Palestine. And so that wasn't too involved. Just getting all like the signage printed out and making sure that it made sense to someone who had never seen the tea stand before and didn't realize that there was this whole spread of free tea. And, you got to explain that there's cold tea, which is like pre-brewed. You just take that and you're good. And then there's hot tea, which is like tea bags and hot water. It's more complicated than you might think, like making this all clear. So that was the first event of the month. And then had our second Sundays in Maria. So again, that's Maria Hernandez Park, local park in Bushwick, where the tea stand began. So set up a little table in the park, served free tea to passersby. That's like how the tea stand got its start. So that was great. It's nice to have like a classic pop-up without any strings attached to feel the how it all began. So yeah, that was really fun. And then 2 weeks ago exactly, served free tea at Light and Sound Design, which is an awesome like music venue. It's hard to describe. It's this private loft in Greenpoint. They do deep listening events where you like lay down on mattresses and there's a DJ playing ambient soundscapes, and it's for people to feel really immersed in this intimate listening experience. And so similar thing there of like a free self-serve tea station. I was like half in, half out. Sometimes I was serving folks. Sometimes I was like totally hands off, but still like watching sometimes too, which was fun to see people react to the tea stand without me being like implied in the exchange. And then on June 16th, I was serving free tea at the Sunny Day Art Market, Sunny Day Art Collective. So they do all sorts of awesome illustrations and little trinkets. And they put together this giant art market in East Williamsburg, which is pretty close to me. And it was a huge event. There were hundreds of people came by, served a ton of free tea, almost 200 cups, which is like about as much as we can. And yeah, met a ton of great people. The vendors were all awesome and talented and nice to chat with. I got a little zine there, which I'm really excited about, by an artist, Four Myths. So that was really fun. And then last week, exactly a week ago, was an event in Flushing Meadows Park, which is in Queens. It's about a 35-minute bike ride for me. It was a tough ride in the heat and with all the weight. It's usually like 40-ish pounds on the back of my bike, and it's a pretty hilly ride over to Flushing Meadows. So tough ride, but it was the summer solstice, and I really wanted to be like out during the sunset on the summer solstice in a big park, so it was perfect. The event was 6 to 9, and it was co-hosted by Long Distance Reads, and they are a mutual aid group distributing books around Queens mostly, but they're in Brooklyn all the time too. They're amazing. Autumn and Rebecca, shout out. So we were with them, and people were encouraged to bring a book and read, and it was lovely. I finished my book. I was reading In the Presence of Absence by Mahmoud Darwish, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's a famous Palestinian poet. So I was happy to finish that book. I have a hard time reading poetry. It takes me a while. So I really enjoyed it, but I couldn't get a groove going. And then this most recent Sunday was at Dogitude, which is a pet care clinic in Borum Hill. And I was serving free tea just outside their storefront or clinic, like right out on the sidewalk on Atlantic Ave, which went well. It was definitely noisy. It's not as nice as being in a public park, but it's cool to just experiment with the tea stand and see how people engage with it in different formats. So, and I was super grateful to have Karen from Swing Toppers. Karen's a local ceramicist, and Swing Toppers is a project of hers where she hand pinches these little like ceramic creatures, and they're so cute, and then puts them on top of swing topper glass bottles, which are like, hopefully you know what those are. It's in the name. But I was really glad that Karen was there. We got to chat a bunch, and she's working on her own like tea stand-esque project with this pottery play table where she brings it around and offers free little hand pinching lessons to passersby in public parks. So we compared notes a little bit. That was really nice. And yeah, that's all the pop-ups. That's 6 pop-ups right there. And then there was a distro, which is serving free tea at a food distribution. And then there was a tea talk, which is small group conversations facilitated by me, free tea served by me. The topic was home this month. It was great. But I'm not going to go into it too much because it's 6:20 now, and it's time to unbox these zines. So I'm going to tab back over here and grab this big old box. Bam. All the zines are in here. And I'm seeing the chat now. Sorry, I was over on my calendar. But hey, Archie, I think Archie might still be in Europe doing a freaking worldwide DJ tour. Crazy. But hope that's been going well. And Nakia asked, how was the music? I'm maybe at the Light and Sound Design event, but it was really good. It was this DJ Jake Meir, and it's really hard for me to describe ambient music, but yeah, it was really enjoyable, something very soothing. And Jake had a song on one of his albums called Yapon, which is the only North American plant which contains caffeine. So that was a little fun Easter egg. All right, this is the moment. So the zines are contained within. Got my box cutter. Here we go. Paper. Cardboard. And the zines, I don't even want to handle them. Here they are. There's like a bunch. I'll show you the whole. Oh, they're upside down. Bam. All right. I'm going to pull a few out. Here they are. Free tea for all. Bocha is the title of the zine, which I don't even want to spoil it. I want people to read the zines. But if you want to know what the significance of the title Bocha is, it's contained right in here. But yeah, maybe I'll just do a little walkthrough of the zine. So here we have the opening page. The ingredients is the table of contents, essentially. And then we've got the tea ledger and the tea map. So the tea ledger shows how much tea we've served at all the different event types that we've hosted. So it's broken down by pop-ups and distros and tea talks and Steeped in Sound. And you can see, what is that number? 1,576 cups of free tea served the first half of the year, which is pretty awesome. And then the tea map over here is a visual representation of the same data. So it's all of the tea that we've served the first half of the year. So from January 2024 to today. And the size of the circles reflects how much tea we've served in those places. So I'm going to leave the further inspection for people to get their hands on it themselves. But we've got some tea donors being spotlighted right here. And then over here, we've got the Tea Light, which is spotlighting a local organization. So spotlighting Unfound, and they're part of the discount program. So if you like what they're about and you want to get some discounts, you know what to do. And we've got over here, this is like a little recap of a tea talk that we had on the topic of dreams, and just sharing like what we talked about, what types of questions were posed, what takeaways there were, if any. And then here we have the inspired by section, which is any like book or movie or piece of media which has inspired the tea stand, and a little bit about that piece of media and why it's important to us. So for this issue, we spotlighted A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, which is a solar punk novel published in 2021. It's amazing. It's essentially the tea stand. It's this non-binary tea monk who travels the land serving free tea to strangers. It's very special. It's our sacred text. And then the last couple pages, we have a community submission, First Impressions, which is somebody's first impression of the tea stand. And that was submitted by Laura in Brooklyn. And then how to support. And that's the zine. Free tea for all. So we've got a bunch of these. And if you're like curious how to get your hands on one, the answer is either become a steeper, which is the more expensive price tier that we have for a membership program. And that's $9 a month. And I'll ship you the zine twice a year. It'll be published twice a year. Or come to a future tea stand event. And I'll always have these on hand as much as I can. And they'll be free with any donation amount. Suggested $5 to $10, but I want to make them super accessible for people. So that's the deal with the zines. And they look really nice. They have this kind of like glossy feel to them, and the design just feels right. I'm like super psyched. It's not my first time seeing the zine because I ordered a couple of like draft issues a few weeks ago just to like make sure I was doing everything right. I'm using an online service to get these printed, and I would love to get them locally printed at some point soon, but just for the sake of the first time limiting the amount of room for error, used an online service. And it was just so hard to predict, like, okay, I submitted this PDF and now it's going to come. Is it going to be like super low resolution? Is everything going to be off by a factor of 2? Because it's not really my field, and you should really be using like something like Illustrator for something like this. However, I was using Figma, which is like not really compatible. It's not really meant for publishing. So yeah, I had concerns about how that would go, but I found like a little tutorial of how to use Figma as a tool for publications, and it worked out. Bocha, issue number 1. Amazing. Very, very excited to get these into people's hands. And I'm not sure if I've made it clear, but the membership program goes live July 1st or potentially June 30th. I might do an in-person event. It's currently scheduled for Sunday to do like an in-person launch before the online launch on Monday. But the weather's looking scary. It's looking like thunderstorms. So very seriously considering putting that off and going through with the like online launch on Monday and then having an event on Saturday instead. But if you're curious, you can check the calendar. It's theteastand.org/calendar, and you can see all of the events there. Okay, perfect timing. It's 6:30, so I'm gonna get my whole tea bagging situation ready. So I've got the bowl here. I'm going to pour all the tea into here. Got the digital scale to make sure I'm getting the same amount of tea in each bag. And I've got a bunch of like empty tea bags. That's pretty much it. Pretty much all you need. And this tea is getting super strong. I'm going to actually yoink this on out of here. There we go. All right, so before I go quiet and put on some music and let any questions come in, I'm going to introduce this tea. So this is some Chinese green tea. It was donated by Rashida, who is my partner's mom. Thank you very much, Rashida. There's 2 boxes of this. It's a ton of tea. Very generous donation, and it's really good tea. I've tried it, and it's great. I always try it before bagging it to find like the exact right quantity that tastes the best. And yeah, I don't know like specifically what type it is, but it seems similar to like a dragon well. And the reason I'm guessing that is because one, it's Chinese, so it's probably pan fried instead of like steam roasted, I think is the alternative. And the shape of the leaves, which I'll show the camera in just a second. The shape of the leaves are like blades, I think is how you describe them. They're like really thin and flat. So I'm just going to fill this bowl up with a ton of tea. And then show the camera. Oh my gosh, I poured it on my laptop. No tea goes to waste. So yeah, that's what the tea looks like. It smells great. And I'm ready to bag. So I'm going to play this Dominique Dumont album titled People on Sunday. It's a great ambient album. And a friend of the Tea Stand, Taylor, who we'll be collaborating with in just a couple of weeks, kind of reminded me of this album. So it feels timely. And yeah, Taylor leads all the meditations at Steeped in Sound. So we always open those events with a free meditation. The whole event is free. And Taylor does such a lovely job every time grounding us before the event begins. So shout out Taylor. And the collaboration will be meditation focused as well. Taylor will be offering meditations during a pop-up like every hour for a few hours. All right. All right. Okay. So I just bagged 32. Is that what I wrote down? 32 bags of this Chinese green tea, Dragonwell-esque, donated by Rashida. Thank you again, Rashida. And there's plenty more, but got a lot of cold tea coming up, a lot of cold brew, which live streaming that process I don't think would work quite as well. So that is going to be the end of the first live stream. Thank you to all who joined and who are watching later. Yeah, I'm thinking the next one of these will be in a couple months and will be available only for members. So hope to see you at a future live stream or at a future event. Free tea for all. Be well. Keep steeping. Bye-bye.